Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Balderas, and I'm so happy you're here. Oh my gosh, it's the end of the year, and look who's back. Simon Balderas, I've missed you.
Oh, I've been here. Just not on this side.
That is so true. Simon, for those of you who don't know, he's the producer of this show, my husband, and also he was my co-host for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. He dropped out. Anyway, but it's nice to have you back in front of so everybody can see you again. Anyway, I hope you all had a beautiful, wonderful Christmas. I mean, we're still in the Christmas holiday because we're Catholic. We're lucky. We get an extra couple of weeks. When everybody else is done and moving past it, we're still going strong.
Yep,
I like it. So we still have our Christmas decorations up, and so we're lucky. Anyway, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and Christmas Eve. And so this episode today, it's the last episode of the year.
Yeah.
The last episode of 2024 in season 2, and then we're going to start season 3. Can you believe we have season 3?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Like that went by really fast. Maybe not for you. He does all the work. So I'm sure it's a lot harder on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year for me, it has been different. It's been, 2 years really, but this last year especially has been like a year of engineering. I normally don't really do a lot of engineering. I'm more on the creative side, creating things. And so it's been interesting.
You've been doing a fantastic job.
Oh, well, I've been trying. Yeah.
You have. So anyway, this episode is going to be a 2024 recap. I feel like everybody does that, on podcasts and TV shows and things. And so I thought we would do a 2024 recap. We have so many new listeners that we're going to go over some of our past guests. And so that'll be kind of fun because I think sometimes when I don't know about you, because you listen to a lot of podcasts as well, but when I listen to podcasts, sometimes I go in like whatever the last episode is, I'll start listening from there. But then I'll go back and scroll back and say, oh my gosh, there's an episode. I would love to listen to this. I didn't even know it was on there.
Yeah. Well, you know what I noticed about listening to other podcasts, especially ones that have been out for, like I was just listening to a podcast yesterday. It's been out for over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I went way, way back to 9 years because now I listen to their podcasts all the time. Very seasoned, very polished, very good interviewer and so forth. Then I went back 9 years and I said, oh, wow, I see the potential for what he's become, but it took time to develop. Sure. And I see that in you too. Like I know since I'm editing and everything, I see you doing the same sort of trajectory and developing your skills and interviewing people much more comfortably, just straight to camera for as long as you can, as long as you want. I could never do that, but I see you doing that. I remember if I went and scrolled back and saw the very first episode, you were nervous, you had the jitters, you would always ask me, was it okay? Did I do okay? Now you just come in here, whip it out, and you're off and running. It's been super interesting. I see the same thing. I think you're really developing, and I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you. And I think we just came up with a new system for your editing, and I think hopefully that'll help you too. But
yeah, well, all that takes a lot of time.
Yes,
and so my time is really, I don't want to say eaten up, but it is compromised because I do a lot of post-production, and I love editing, but I love editing maybe stuff that I create or have, or I'm developing stuff. So now that I'm doing a lot of your stuff, which I like, he
doesn't love it, but he likes
I'm shifting gears, yeah. So, I mean, I'm always throwing ideas your way and stuff, but I have some more ideas we can talk about the future stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think that's really important. And this is, again, why at the end of a year, people reflect back, whether it's in your business or your personal life or whatever. But I kind of feel the same way about Fresh Catholic. When I approach people about listening, I always say, go back to the beginning and listen to the first few episodes. And so I'm going to say that again for all of you who are new to the podcast or kind of coming in. You've only been here for a little while. I always suggest you go all the way back to the beginning. There's an intro and a welcome episode. Both of those are very short. And then I have 4 main episodes. I have the beginning, the accident, the aftermath, and the conversion. And if you listen to those, you'll get a sense of who I am, why I'm doing this podcast, how it came about, and why I think the way I do, or what my past experiences are to help me to want to reach out to other people and have, my thoughts and feelings about things, but also things that are really important to me that I feel will help others. Because I feel like when you go through trauma and hardship, that is one of the reasons is it's meant to help others.
And you're talking about you're not even talking about this. You're talking about 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
2 years ago.
And so what I think would be really interesting is, that was, you told the first few episodes, you told your origin story, why you're doing this. And it was a sort of raw
Right.
take on what you're doing, what your ideas are going, are for the vision of the show. And so I think it would be interesting for you to do the same 4 episodes, but now that you're a little bit more seasoned and that you have I think it would be interesting because, people ask you all the time, and I know I've told the story a lot of times, but I think it would be, I don't know, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to play this side by
Like a reboot.
kind of a reboot. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that.
I think it would be cool.
Okay, well, you never know. All I do know that, like, since I've started, we used to do these podcasts way different than we do now. Like, I had a vision in the beginning, and then it's kind of morphed over time. We've tried different things. Some things I really like, some things I don't care for. We do learn, it's like, okay, well, we won't do that again, or, and then I know you and we do have a lot of ideas and plans for the future. And so we'll talk a little bit about those towards the end of this episode. But anyway, I wanted to also kind of give you, the audience, a couple of, I'm going to give you some stats, okay? So far, as we're recording this today, we have 465 episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
Oh my gosh. There's 105. This is number 105 main episodes where we do our weekly podcast. So that comes out on Mondays. And so we do topics and things like that. We have guests. And then the rest are the Fresh Catholic Daily, which I started last January 1st. So we've been doing that a year.
Yeah.
And that really upped our game, doing Fresh Catholic Daily.
Yeah.
That brought in a lot more listeners. It's very consistent. I know I have a lot of people that are very happy with Fresh Catholic Daily. If you're not listening to Fresh Catholic Daily, you should give it a try because it's 5 to 7 minute episodes. They are literally the daily readings that you would hear in Mass, whether you go to Mass or not. I have people like myself. I mean, I listen to my own because I like to hear the Mass readings before I go to daily Mass. I like to hear what the readings are going to be so I can process them, think about them, so that when I'm in Mass, I can really focus on them.
Right.
I think sometimes when you go in and you don't know what the readings are going to be and you're maybe distracted, this really helps prep you. And I listen to them when I'm in the bathroom in the morning getting ready. Some people listen in their car on the way to school or work, or you can listen, on a walk or something.
Yeah.
But they're nice and short, but it really is a consistent thing. And Catholics, they love consistency.
You're right. Yeah.
They love things to be very much the same. So every day they're the same thing. They're the very regimented format.
Right.
There's no additional anything to it except the act of spiritual communion, which was a request by one of my listeners to have that at the end of each daily episode.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I listen to your episodes in a sort of different way than anybody else gets to listen to them. Because first of all, I have to often listen to them more than
300 times.
Yeah, more than once. But the way that I listen to them, because, for those of you who don't know, I've been an editor for a very long time. I started editing when I was in my early 20s, and you do the math, I'm 57. So I've been doing it for a very long time. So I've picked up quite a bit of speed in my editing. I hate editing slow. I edit it very, very quickly. And so when I edit your dailies, I edit them at least double speed.
Yes, I sound like Susie the Mouse from Cinderella.
Yeah, so I listen to them very, very fast. It helps me create a rhythm in editing. And so that's how I listen to them in
I think that's cheating. I think that's cheating.
Yeah, but I hear them more than once.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So anyway, if you're not listening to those, I suggest you give it a try in the new year. I mean, everybody listens to Father Mike Schmitz.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you listen to Father Mike every day, which I know many of you do, you can listen to Fresh Catholic Daily. It would be
Yeah.
a really great thing. Also, I would say a good partner to my podcast, The Dailies, would be Catholic Daily Reflections. It's also a podcast, and that gentleman, he reflects on the gospel of the day. It's also very short, but I love that one. So I always listen to mine, and then I have his right next, so that I can hear what he has to say, a commentary about it. And he gives like a really beautiful reflection of the day. He gives a thought for the day, and then he does a prayer. And I think they're partnered together. They're an amazing duo.
And don't forget about Sunday, because Charles Merritt does his also daily reflections or weekly Sunday reflections, which I know you get a lot out of as well.
Right.
We partner with.
So yeah, and Charles Merritt, who we'll talk about in a little bit, he does do a podcast. I'm not sure his access, but I do know it's on YouTube. So everybody has access to it.
If you go to the bio on the website, there's a link to his YouTube channel.
Oh, great. Oh, perfect. Okay, there you go. So I get that sent to me every Friday morning. I listen to it, so I'm ready for Sunday's Mass for the gospel. So I do really appreciate it because he really breaks it down. And I think it's important so you don't go to Mass every day or every week and you're just brushing through the readings. You're thinking, I've heard this 1,000 times. Well, but are you really understanding what you're hearing? That's what's important. In the new year, let's all be more focused on what we're hearing so that then we can integrate it into our lives and the lives of others.
Yeah, and I know that I have for many years gone to Mass just sort of cold. I don't know what the readings are. I just have gone to Sunday Mass, and oftentimes I've found myself within Mass, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to focus. I'm struggling to concentrate. That's why I like to kind of sit in the way back. So I'm just kind of real inward and I'm just really focused on and listening the best I can. But there's a lot of distractions. And there's a lot of things that I think often war against you in absorbing the message.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's really important. Like Charles, he brings you the historical, the cultural significance. He puts you kind of there in that place and time when these writings were being written. And so going into Mass with that knowledge, you're kind of ready. You're ripe and ready to, and then you hear it again, and then I remember that. You put it in sort of a context,
Right.
of not only historical, but in your life, how you make it relevant. So I think it's really important, and I've really gained a lot from that.
Right. I do think, I hate to always blame COVID for everything, but I feel like since COVID, everybody's just so sloppy and lazy about everything. And, I don't want to say people are going to church in their PJs, but people are definitely, have slopped things down a bit. And I do think our brains have become a little mushy. And I do think it is really important, like I say, or like you're saying as well, when you go to Mass, be focused, be faithful, and be fresh. That was so funny. Anyway, you should be really focused on what you're listening to. And again, that will help you. Like there is outside interference. Satan is trying to distract us. He's the scatterer. He is the one who likes to cause a problem. He doesn't want us to be sitting and listening at Mass.
Right.
He wants us to be zoning out. He wants us to not know what we're listening to.
Yeah. I think it's important to also understand that, God demanded us to take a day of rest, to have that day of not just zonking out and doing nothing, although we do that a lot. We come home and we have our routine and we watch movies and stuff like that. But I think it's also a time to reflect on your week.
Right.
Because a lot of times we have hard weeks and we have a lot of stuff that comes up. And so by the time you go to Mass, you could be pretty tense and you could be, sort of unraveling, what you have been through during the week. So it's important to kind of go in there with, some kind of fortitude. And I think that that's what these daily readings do and my Sunday readings. Yeah.
Right. Well, and so check those out in the new year. I mean, that would be a great New Year's resolution, is to have a plan that you do. If you want to do the Bible in a year with Father Mike, do that, but then add Fresh Catholic and Catholic daily reflections.
So
That's a good one.
you probably know better than me, but I've heard this, that if you listen to the daily readings every day for a period of time, I think it's 3 years, you would have read the entire Bible. Something like
Really? Yeah, there's some formula like that. Charles Merritt probably knows the exact.
but I think it's 3 years, maybe it's 5 years. So if you listen to it every day, you've just read the whole Bible. And
Which is interesting because a lot of Protestants think we don't read the Bible.
I know.
We don't read it like they do, but it doesn't mean we don't read the Bible, Protestant friends. We are listening to readings every single day. So maybe some of my Protestant listeners will listen to Fresh Catholic Daily.
Yeah.
I think it benefits everybody. It's not necessarily like a strict Catholic.
Well, I want to give sort of some kudos to our Protestant brothers and sisters, because when I was a Protestant, I really dove into the Bible, and I dove into it in a way that you sort of are telling, like how like Charles Merritt and the other person that you listen to sort of explore the Gospels, and that's what I did. And I think that when you talk about our Protestant brothers and sisters, they often know the Bible very well.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying they don't.
Yeah.
I know they do. I know that they are very Bible focused. They know every word. They'll stop you on the street and say a passage they quote in every breath that they take, but they shouldn't then look down on us and judge us for how we're reading the Bible. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I definitely know they know their Bible, and I definitely know that they are very faithful people. I'm just saying, don't turn it around and say we don't read the Bible.
I know, you're right. And it's a different experience. And I know, because I lived in both worlds. And so now as a Catholic, the Bible has become much more rich, honestly, to me. It's more of a meditative process, and it just sort of, I don't know, it sinks in me much more somehow. It has more sort of weight. I'm not looking at the Bible as just a strict reference for apologetics, because I think that's what often happens.
Right.
It's like, well, read this scripture according to,
Right.
it's like, well, okay.
Right.
That's
I think there's more to it
it's more
than just
more-
reading it.
There's more than apologetics.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. So, okay. So, wow, that was a great opening. Oh my goodness. So when we come back, because we need to take a break, when we come back, we're going to talk about our past guests from 2024. We'll be right back. Have you ever wanted to witness the miraculous and walk where saints have walked? This is your chance. Join me, Lori Balderas, host of Fresh Catholic Podcast, and Father Matthew Miguel, as we walk with you through Italy's most sacred sites. From the Eucharistic miracles of Lanciano and Orvieto to the peace of Assisi, your heart will be transformed by these extraordinary moments of grace. You'll walk the hallowed streets of Rome, step into the history of the Vatican, and witness the places where faith has flourished for centuries. Each stop deepens your journey. Each miracle renews your soul. We invite you to join us on an unforgettable, life-changing experience.
Join us and let your faith come alive in Italy.
Have you checked out Fresh Catholic website yet? Oh my gosh, there is so many things going on there. First of all, we have an online store that has so many faith-based items that are original to Fresh Catholic. We have bags and hats and cups and shirts. We have a dog bowl. We have a puzzle. We have so many things to look at. There's an apron with St. Martha. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. So check all that out. We also have Fresh Catholic coffee, 17 flavors, roasted and shipped on the same day. You need more coffee in your life, or give it as a gift. We also have information about our pilgrimage that's coming up in September of 2025 to Italy during the Jubilee year with Father Matthew Miguel. Please go check out the itinerary and sign up and come with us. We'll have so much fun. And we're going to record my podcast there, so please check that out. Also, we have educator Charles Merritt does the Fresh Catholic series on our website and also on YouTube. So check that out. He's done the Gospel of Mark. He did a whole Bible study series on that. He's done a series on the Our Father, the Hail Mary, sin, angels, sacraments and grace, and Advent. So that'll keep you busy over the winter months. You got to catch up with that because he's just coming up with more and more and more. Also, I'd like to give an additional shout out to my friend Tommy and Father Ed, who wrote a song called Carpenter's Son, the Carpenter's Son, about Joseph and the beautiful baby Jesus. So this song is sung by Drew Siglia, and I want you to check it out. I want you to listen to the bonus episode. There's a preview on there, and then download the song. Make it a part of your Christmas list. So thanks for checking everything out. We are so appreciative for you. Thank you for your support. And we're back. So 2024 brought us lots of guests. I would just go after people.
Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah.
I would find somebody and say, oh, I want to have them as a guest.
Yeah.
And then I pretty much hijack them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, if there's one thing that you are is not shy. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
No, you do. And you're right. You would see somebody and you see a glimmer in them, or you see what they're doing. And I think that's you have a talent for that. And well, I mean, let me throw a few of the guests that we've had at you.
Okay.
Okay. So we had episode 53, we had Jack Cooper, who is an up and coming, future priest. Hopefully he's in
God willing.
he's a seminarian.
Yes.
And so I really enjoyed his episode. As a matter of fact, I saw him at Mass on Christmas as he was serving as an altar server. And I just, I look at that guy and I saw him was he an altar server?
Yes.
Okay, well, I saw him this, maybe the Mass before. I saw him sitting in the pew, sitting right in front of me. I didn't say anything. I was really quiet. But he's so reverent. He's so dialed in to the Mass. You just, the love for Christ and the love for his faith, it just exudes off of him.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he glows.
Yeah.
I got chills when we're talking about him. Yeah, he was an amazing guest. We had his brother Henry on in 2023,
Yeah.
his younger brother, because he's a devout Catholic teenager, which I think is just amazing. And then we had Jack come on as our first guest in 2024.
Young guys. I mean, he's 23, 22.
Yeah, something like
Very, very young. But his devotion, he gets it.
Yeah.
And God, what an advantage to get it. It's so young.
Right.
I just imagine his footprint in the world and what he's going to do for God.
He will. And we are in such desperate, dire need for priests. And I can't remember what I was listening to the other day, and it was Bishop Barron, and he was saying, we're in big trouble if we don't have priests.
Yeah.
There's no Mass without priests.
Yeah.
So we, to see Jack Cooper, he's just, like you're saying, like he is just so reverent. He's so invested in the Lord. And I feel the same way. He's going to bring such big things to the Catholic faith.
Yeah. And then speaking of priests, priests aren't just in your local parish. We had episode 56, Father Pomposello, Frank Pomposello.
Peter.
Peter
Pomposello.
Pomposello. He was a priest chaplain in the army.
Yes.
And he was recruiting other priests
Right.
to come in the army because there's a big need for that as well. It's really dwindled down, like you're saying.
Right.
And he was a very energetic.
He was a good sport.
Yeah.
Because we had to re-record some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he was super good sport.
Yeah.
And I found him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I messaged him on Instagram and I said, I'd love to have you as a guest.
Yeah.
And he was just, full of energy.
Yeah.
Again, a different type of priest.
Yeah.
Like Jack Cooper's a little more subdued, and really reverent, but he's really young. And Peter Pomposello, Father Pete, he's very dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think, very knowledgeable.
Yes.
And big personality. And I think that's great too.
Yeah, I thought it was so important, some of the things that he said, in that, his job is really to guide these men that are not only in the service, but also that may be coming to him that want to, join the priesthood in a different way and serve in a different way.
Right.
And he's gone into battle, and he's I didn't realize that he doesn't carry a weapon. He's just carries a Bible and a rosary pretty much when he goes into any kind of conflict or is with his men. So I just found him so fascinating and just such a great guy.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had episode 61. I'm sorry, got
Madeline.
my cheat sheet here.
Yeah.
Madeline
Carrico.
Uh-huh. And she was a mother and an author, and she was trying to do things a little bit differently, right? She was
trying to promote her book.
right.
And she's an artist, and so she's creating her own books. And she'd had some traumas with children, like miscarrying.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And things like that. So the way that she was coping with her losses
Yeah.
were to write these books. And she does these this beautiful artwork of herself with Jesus, and to kind of help people to heal, because a lot of women struggle with that. And that's how she was trying to help others. Like I just said, when you have things traumatic happen to you,
Yeah.
what can you use those for good? So she was a very sweet guest. I really enjoyed having her on. And then she asked me to write a letter in her book. So that was kind of exciting for me. So yeah, she was a great guest, and I think she and her little family, she had another baby, and so things are going well for them. And so you'll have to check out Zelly Crafts, or Zelly, is that right? Zelly Crafts. You'll have to check that out on Instagram.
And that was episode 61.
61. And we're telling you the episode so you can go back and listen.
Yeah. And one thing I like about the guests that you choose, because you choose all your guests, you find all your guests, you choose all your guests. I might have suggested one or two, but for the most part, you've done it. And I feel like you've really have a rounded out palette of diverse guests.
Yes, I do.
You have all kinds. The next guest that I wanted to mention was episode, I think it was 66, Sean McVeigh. He was also an author, but he just had a really unique take on the gospel and his faith, right?
Right. And he is very knowledgeable. So he's an archer. And so he wrote this book. And when he first approached me, because he lives in a whole other state, so does Madeline, so does Peter, Father Pete. So, we were doing these remotely. But
Yeah.
Sean McVeigh, he approached me about this book he wrote. And it was about archery. And I thought, okay. And I heard him out on it. And then he sent me the book, and he was very specific. Read these chapters. This is what I want you to read. And I did. And I was blown away. I thought it was an amazing book. He does quite a, I can't think of the word, but he compares archery to your
living
faith.
your life.
Yeah.
Like hitting the mark.
Hitting the mark.
Getting that bullseye.
Yeah, because when you're off the mark, then everything
And the
doesn't work.
discipline that it takes.
Right.
And the practice and all
Right.
those things.
So it seems a different way, but I highly recommend his book, which is called, do I have it written there?
Hitting the mark of
Oh, so that was the name of the episode. Maybe that's the name of the book. But anyway, he was an amazing guest because he is super knowledgeable. He's a theologian, so he really knows what he's talking about. He was going to go into the priesthood, and so he was a really fascinating guest, and I loved his book. I thought it was excellent. So highly recommend that.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite people and favorite guests was Sabrina McManigal. She had a very, very heartfelt, very sincere, authentic episode with you. And it really,
She had two with me, but one we can't have access to at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. She's one of our favorite people.
Yeah.
Sabrina McManigal, shout out.
Yeah. She was, really, she's inspiring to me. And she's just this, I don't want to say vulnerable. I want to say a very delicate, God-loving person.
She is.
And that also, she really exudes this sort of soft kindness.
She
of
is.
a person, just a really good heart, and has just gone through hell.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah,
she's gone through hell, and she found the Lord, and she just completely dove into the deep end.
Yeah.
And not in a bad way, in a great way.
Yeah.
And so, we did this episode where it's called Experiencing the Splendor of Becoming Catholic, because she became Catholic during this year's 2024 Easter Vigil.
Right.
So we had her on, and she's just glowing with the love of the Lord.
Yeah.
You can just feel it coming out of her, and it's a beautiful story.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is that she reminds me of you in a lot of ways, in that she's a new Catholic, but she's got a hold of her faith, and she's not letting it go. She's a daily masser. Right. She really loves Christ, and she's gotten into it in a big way, like you did when you went to RCIA, now OCIA. But when you did that, you took it very serious.
Right.
Yeah, you took it, and then you hung on to it and haven't let it go either. And I'm hoping the same for her.
Right.
She's got a lot of struggles, but I think that she has the strength of Christ right behind her.
She sure does, and I think that's beautiful. Oh, she's gonna love this. Yeah. Okay.
So then that was episode 68. There's another episode which hopefully we can release. We had it out for a while, but we had to take it down for various reasons. But so then we had Carolyn Curtis.
Yes. Another one of my favorite people.
Yeah. And she's a co-worker of yours, episode 72, raising strong Catholic children in this day and age. And I thought she was really awesome.
So Carolyn Curtis has these 4 delightful young sons. And I always sound like I'm such a hawk at church, but they are altar servers. They're amazing. I recruited them to be some of my wedding altar servers because they're such amazing young men. And so I wanted her to be a guest on our podcast because, again, I think when you have a successful child, successful teenager, successful young adult who are in their faith, I want to know how you're accomplishing that, how you're getting that reaction from your children, because her children are incredibly reverent. They're incredibly, I just appreciate that about them. They're very focused. And I know even this last Christmas, I just saw a photo today on social media, and she was showing her youngest son, the little one. He was a lector at the Christmas Eve Mass.
Oh, nice.
I love that picture because he's the one, I hope I don't get this wrong, he's the one that's thinking about being a priest, the little one.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the one. If it's not him, it's the next one up, but I'm pretty sure. So I was thinking, oh, well, this is how it begins. He's getting up in front of the group, because they're all altar servers. But anyway, she and her husband are doing a phenomenal job parenting. And I just wanted to know what it was. So go back and listen to that one. That one's episode 72.
72. And then you had episode 74 with one of your favorite people, my favorite people as well, and somebody that you are actually hopefully going to be doing something very, very, very cool with, and that's Father Matthew Miguel.
Right. So we did an encore episode of the episode on priesthood with Father Matthew Miguel. We recorded it in 2023 and released it. It was wildly popular. It's one of my top podcast episodes. And so we decided we would re-release it because, again, we need priests. So Father Matthew Miguel is a really amazing priest. The reason I really value him as a person and a priest is that he is very firm in his faith. He's not wishy-washy. He doesn't cave when somebody says something. I think, much like Jesus was very contrary to what people think. Jesus wasn't a pushover. He wasn't just kind and you could do whatever you wanted and he's fine with everything. Yes, he loves everybody, but he does not love the sin. So when there's somebody sinning, they need to be corrected and they need to be guided in the right way. And that's how I feel Father Matthew is.
Okay.
And so Father Matthew, to me, he's very soft and sweet, but he's also very firm but fair.
I think that's an interesting combination. I think, if you're a very emotional person, you may struggle to be strong. And he somehow has both. He's able to be strong and also very emotional person.
Right.
I want to stay in touch with his emotions.
Right. And so that's a great episode again, because we need priests.
Yeah, and you guys have something planned?
Oh, yeah, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
In our future plans.
All right. And then you have episode 78 and 84 with Alec Hamrick. He's a teacher and
Catholic high school teacher.
And he has some missions that he's been on and that he really is an advocate for, and that's he did a thing called Biking for Babies, and maybe you can explain a little bit about what that is.
So Alec Hamrick is a friend of mine, and he works at Santa Clara High School. Shout out Santa Clara High School in Oxnard, California. So he came on because he was going on a mission trip called Biking for Babies. He's a huge pro-life advocate. He's very pro-mother, pro-baby, and he was going to, do this missionary trip where they do a long trek bike riding and they raise money. So I wanted to have him on for that because I'm also a big pro-lifer, and one of my goals is just there should be no abortion. So I really wanted him to come on, and he was kind to come. And then he came back after his mission trip, and he did he gave us an update. It was a successful trip. He learned a lot so that he knows what he wants to do moving forward. And he also talked about, being a high school teacher, a Catholic high school teacher, and how that is hard, but, he's doing it. And, it's hard to be a teacher in general, but in this day and age, to be a religious teacher, I think that's hard because maybe not so much anymore coming in 2025. But, there's some challenges, but he's such a positive person.
He really is. I found him such an interesting person. I think that he's a unique person. I think that he I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels like he kind of walks to the beat of his own drum in a sense, and he doesn't really, I don't think he cares what other people think about, because, if you're going to do a thing for pro-life and you're going to ride your bike across the entire country and you're meeting people and you're seeing people who are real negative towards you. I think he doesn't really care. He's really strong and he believes what he believes. And he's just putting it out there. And I think he does the same thing for his students. He's a different guy, and I think that he also is very strong with what he believes.
I would say very, very strong, especially in the summer where we were not, it was a very liberal pro-choicey time.
Yeah.
So anyway, I really appreciated him coming twice in the summer. That was really fun to have him here because I find him very delightful. So,
Yeah.
all right.
And then you had episode 85, Teresa Nelson.
Oh, I love Teresa Nelson too. She's a coworker too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So she came, she is the director of family faith formation at our church, Our Lady of the Assumption Church in Ventura, California. So she had just taken on that role. And she is a mother of 2, and we've just recently found out she's pregnant again. So that's so lovely. She's just the sweetest thing. She is just, I love everything about her. I always get a good hug from her. She's just been raised beautifully by her parents. I know her parents. So I just really enjoyed that episode because she was taking on a new role of taking over the smaller children
Yeah.
and they're, learning, what's it called? Catechesis, right?
Yes.
So anyway, I really enjoyed having her on, and I think she's just a really good role model, and I think she's in the perfect position there. She has that personality for that age group, and I think that's beautiful. So I was very happy to have her.
Yeah, she struck me as a person, very nice, but a kind of person, kind of like you, doesn't mess around.
Teresa?
Yeah, no, not Teresa. I'm thinking, am I thinking Teresa? Maybe I'm thinking of Carolyn. I'm thinking of Carolyn. Sorry, she doesn't mess around.
Because Teresa probably doesn't mess around either, but she's just got such a
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
sorry,
that
I got
Carolyn and I aren't nice people, but we're maybe a little more feisty.
Yeah, I just think you're no nonsense
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah. But yeah, so it was great.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the next
Teresa.
episode I was going to talk
Right.
about anyways with Carolyn Curtis.
Yeah, so we had Carolyn Curtis come back because from the time we had her prior to this episode,
Yeah.
she became what is she? I want to get it right.
She's the formation,
Well,
youth
where
formation,
is
the
it?
importance of youth formation.
Oh, no, wait. No, I had her, where is it? Director of Youth Formation.
Yeah.
Okay, so Teresa and Carolyn got hired at the same time.
Yeah.
So Carolyn has the older children. And so her personality is perfect for that job because she's got 4 boys. She is very straightforward.
Yeah.
She's very firm, but she's also lovely.
Yeah.
Like she's a real good balance for that age group.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think that age group can be kind of lazy and they don't want to do things.
Yeah.
And I think I would want to do what Carolyn Curtis tells me to do.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Yeah. No, she's like, she's very professional in some way.
She is.
She comes across to me like a very professional. I don't want to say corporate, but
Well, she started out the corporate
okay.
world.
Well, maybe that's why. She's very professional. I like that. You know, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
She just tells you straight like it is. I like that.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think she's perfect for that. So I know the 2 of those ladies, their ministries, I think, are booming. I think everything's going real well at our church in that group. I think they've upped the numbers of people involved, and I think people are volunteering, and I think they're great. Both of them are very suited to those jobs. I think, and they do love the Lord so much, and they do want to, those are their gifts.
Yeah, and those are challenging positions
Very.
to work with the youth like that because, I mean, there's so many dynamics involved with parents who maybe put their kids in catechism, but just are kind of doing it like.
Well, now they're trying to do it where the families are more involved. They're not just dumping their kids off.
That's great.
They're more involved.
I'm
So
glad
it's more of a job for these 2.
Yeah.
But I personally think one of the reasons they are and will be successful is because they're a good team together and they're helping each other.
see that, yeah.
And they're in my building where my office is, and they're at the other end. They're in the section with the air conditioning and heater. And me and Andrew, the music director, are in the other end where it's hot and it's cold. But they're right next to each other in their offices.
Yes.
So they're able to, bounce these things off of each other. So I'm thrilled for both of them. And so to have them as guests, I was just very happy to have them as guests because I wanted, because one of the things is this isn't just about being local. All these things we're talking about. We're hoping, like with Carolyn and Teresa, that their expertise and their ideas, the other people all over the world, because we're worldwide at Fresh Catholic, that they'll get ideas, about, oh, we could do that. That sounds great. So it's just because we're local doesn't mean you're not going to get something out of the episode. You will.
Yeah. And then you had another very, I want to say, strong guest, Becky Cooper, episode 89. She is a very strong lady.
Yeah.
Very strong. I want to say strong and also strong-willed
Yes.
person.
Yes.
And that's why she did the episode that you entitled The Prodigal Daughter.
Yes.
Because when she was a youth, she was strong-willed and wanted to seek some things out on her own.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was interesting since she is the daughter of Deacon Don, who is our favorite deacon at our church. He's very, he's been a guest on our show many times. We haven't had him in all of 2024. What the heck happened then?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to bother him because he's a busy guy, but we'll have him back because he is one of my very favorite people in the world. And he's been very influential in my Catholic life.
Yeah.
And he was my RCIA teacher. He married Simon and I. Now I work with him. He does like 98% of the weddings with me. And he's very valuable to me. And this is his daughter, his youngest daughter. And yeah, she turned away and she came back. And I just really thought her story was great. She was very open and honest about it. And I think that happens a lot with a lot of people. Or as a parent, you want to know, like, what should I do? What should I have done? Like she gave a good view of it. She's also a teacher and a mother. And I just thought, because her turning away, it was a really good example for her to know how to handle her students.
Yeah. I find, well, first of all, Deacon Donnie is a great guy, and his wife's also, you can tell they have a great partnership. They have each other, and they have raised their kids right. And, I'm going to make a comparison because I just kind of heard this thing not too long ago, but, the Amish people, they're very simple, but very devout people, devout families, and they raise their kids the right way, the best that they can, in the most pure way that they can. But they have this thing called Rumsfinger.
Oh, yeah. Rumspringer.
And it's when they allow the kids to
Go free
and see what the world's like. And a lot of them go out and never come back.
Right.
But the one thing about Rumspringer is that you can come back anytime. You could be gone for 20 years. And when you come back, they open their arms and say, welcome back.
Just like Jesus.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Jesus is always going to take you back. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All it takes for people who turn away is for you to come back. You don't have to announce it to anybody. You don't have to make a big grand show of anything. You simply start praying and going back to Jesus, and he will take you.
Yeah. And so I compare that a little bit to Deacon Owen and his wife, because they raised their children right in the best way they can. They did. They're such great people. And she wanted to see what the world was like.
Right.
And so she got a little taste of it.
Right. And they allowed it. Yeah. And then when she came back, they were thrilled, you know? Yeah. And I think that is a really good example, because I do think, that's a terribly hard thing. We know how that feels.
Yeah.
It's a terribly hard thing when your child turns away from the Lord, turns away from the church, and you're just left to I know you say often, I'm praying for you. I'm hoping you're coming back to church, So it's, that's all we can kind of do. And we, not all, but I mean, we pray, and then let the Lord handle it.
Right. Yeah.
And sure enough, Becky literally fell on the ground from the impact of Jesus.
Right.
Yeah. So you'll have to listen to that episode, because it was really, really good. And I was so happy she came, because I think that, she was really open about it. And I think that's important, because a lot of people identify with that, because that happens a lot.
Right. And then you had, before I mention this next guest, I also want to say that you've recently been cast in a movie
God willing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you interviewed a director by the name of Angela Labuti, and he's making a movie called The New Manna, which is basically the life of Christ.
Right.
And you were cast as a villain.
I am. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to be in a movie, I'd like to be a villain. I mean, I've always wanted to be the evil queen, but anyway, so God willing, I mean, I don't know if I don't want to jinx it. God willing, I will be playing Herodias in the movie The New Manna. So I'm really excited about that. So in order for that to happen, people need to donate to this movie.
You need to donate to the movie.
This movie is very worthwhile. I know Carlo Acutis, his mother, is really supporting this film. It's not just about the life of Christ. It's kind of a juxtaposition of modern and past. And so they're doing scientific research, and then they flash back to the things happening in the Bible.
Right.
So it's kind of a cool idea. I've never seen really anything like it. And we always need more religious Catholic content. We really do out in the world. And so Angelo is really needing people to donate to this film. And I know that he would love to get it out this year because Carlo Acutis is becoming a saint.
Right.
And so that's his goal. So if you go back and listen to episode 94, there's links in the show notes and you can donate. You can go to his website, the New Manna website, and donate. Donate anything. He'll take anything because he really wants to get this thing made. And of course, Satan doesn't want him to get it made. So there's monkey wrenches going into it.
He's shot a large portion.
A lot of it.
A large portion of the film, so that he's kind of taking it one step at a time to create this film. And
And then you'll see me as Herodias.
Yeah. I really, I felt for him. I related to him in a lot of ways. He is and has faced many trials in his life. And I think that I personally believe this, that it's a direct result of what he's trying to do for Christ. I really do.
Right.
I feel like there's some evil forces coming against that guy. Nobody wants to. The devil doesn't want this film to be made.
Absolutely
And
not.
so he's going to thwart him, do all kinds of things to discourage a person like that. And I see that he's gone through that, but he's still plodding along. He's a very emotional guy. I saw that. I felt that.
Right. Well, because he wants to do this so badly. And you can just feel it. He just, when you have something that you're wanting to do and you're getting outside interference, it's crushing, but we can't let that crush us.
Right.
I have things happening that I have certain people that are trying to squash this podcast. They're trying to dismiss it. They're trying to cause a problem. And you know what? I'm not falling for it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to fall for it because they're not going to put a stop to my podcast or the things I'm trying to do because they're looking at it in a different way.
Right.
I know Angelo is trying to make this movie. He's not trying to make the movie to cause attention to himself and to make everybody look at him and to become famous. He's trying to do this because he has a story to tell.
Yeah.
And he feels really compelled to do this.
And I think that I think everybody's inspired to do something, and maybe small things and sometimes big things like this big epic movie he's trying to do. And I think it's super important. And I think he does this. And I think we do this. I think it's important when you have these trials, it's important to recognize where they're coming from, why they're coming at you like this. And then that's where your faith has to kick in.
Right.
And that's what we've done. And I think that's what he's doing. It's really apparent, but just to call it out.
Right.
When you see something, instead of saying, oh, poor me, why is this happening to me? It's happening to you because you are trying to live a life for Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've had people say that to me recently where I'll say some different real big bad struggles we're going through, and they're all, wow, you must be doing something real right for God because Satan's mad at you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so we joke about that all the time, but it's not funny, but it's true.
Yeah, and we've had this year's been rough.
Real rough.
Yeah, with struggles.
Well,
and
we'll
so
get to
forth.
that in a minute.
Okay.
We're still talking about our guests. But please support the New Manna movie and go to the New Manna website and donate. Like I say, anything will help. Angelo will appreciate it. And let's get this movie made. That would be great. Okay.
Okay, and I don't know, it's now a good time to take a break?
No, because you have this.
Okay, well, I was saving it.
No,
Okay.
don't.
All right, so,
Oh, is that what you want to do?
well, I kind of was
To
thinking.
go with the rest of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so Simon has made an executive decision. Okay, so we're going to take another break. We'll be right back to talk about our future plans with Fresh Catholic. Be right back. Thank you for tuning in today. We really appreciate you being a loyal listener. I want to remind you that in addition to our weekly topic episodes, I also do Fresh Catholic Daily, the daily Mass readings. They're nice and short, 5 to 7 minutes, perfect for your drive to work or school, or while you're cooking, cleaning, on a walk. So tune into those, get your daily dose of Jesus. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and I do little short videos every day. So tune into those, tell all your friends, subscribe, please, rate and review. We really would appreciate it. I'm just trying to draw people to the Catholic faith or back to the Catholic faith. Help me to do that, won't you? And we're back.
Yes, we're back, and I work with Charles Merritt, our partner in crime here, a lot. And he's been your most frequent guest.
In 2024.
In 2024, episode 63, 75, 83, 95, 99, 100, and 103. He has been around. He's been here.
So just say the titles of those.
Okay,
so they
so
know.
he's done Holy Week with you, Toxic Attitudes About Masculinity, Catholic Trivia. You guys had a lot of fun on that. All Hallows Tide, the Fresh Catholic Quiz. He's
Two-parter.
Yeah.
Two-parter.
Yeah, two-part quiz. Advent Traditions. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
And he and I have become really great friends.
You spend more time together than you and I do.
And so in addition to the episodes, we have been producing a lot of content and a lot of courses that are on your website now. You should all check them out because they're all very, very good. He has a way of teaching that is relevant and down to earth. Mm-hmm. And he's an educator. It shows. He's very organized in his thinking, and he's fun to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you guys have been enjoying
He's
that.
a good guy. He's a real good guy and a very amazing teacher. I've never really, he teaches publicly, he does these courses as well at our parish, and they're wildly popular. And you'll see that if you go online and see some of his courses that he's done for us, they're a tremendous success. He's I learn a lot. We talk about all these episodes in detail before we do them and after we go into these discussions. So a lot of times when he comes here and records, he records for a short period of time, but then by the time we finish talking, it's like 3 or 4 hours later.
Like I said, you spend more time with him than me sometimes.
Yeah, no, he's you're missing out if you haven't checked out
Right.
Fresh Catholic courses.
So go to freshcatholic.com, our website, and they're beautifully done. Obviously, like Simon does a great job editing them and filming them. And there is a lot of content there.
Yeah.
So, and we're still going. So
still going.
like we say, he's got a Bible study, but he's got other courses. And again, you can listen to these, when you're on a walk or whatever.
I will be releasing a series on the virtues in a couple of weeks, if not sooner. I was kind of pulling back till January, so I'm going to be doing that. And we're doing like a whole series on Lent. We have many, many episodes on that, and we're going to do the Book of Haggai, Jonah. We have done the whole entire book of Matthew.
No, Mark.
Mark, sorry, the Book of Mark. And we've done a series on sin. We've done a series on angels, pivotal prayers, Hail Mary, Our Father. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Sacraments and grace.
sacraments and grace.
Yeah.
So
So it's really good. So you'll have to check it out if you haven't, and let everybody know, because they are great.
yeah.
So yeah. All right. So that's all of our guests for the year. So that was a little recap of those. And I just think it's important, like I say, if you're new to the podcast, or if you just have forgotten that you wanted to listen, you can go back and listen. And again, start in the new year. You can start all over with Fresh Catholic. You could start the dailies. Please, I encourage you. Okay, so now moving on. Hang on. I have notes.
It was a long episode.
I know, that's okay. People are okay. We're okay. All right, so we have, let's see. I don't know if you have any favorite episodes or moments, but I have a little something to say.
Okay.
So one of the things this year that was a little different for me to the prior year was this year I tried to be a little more brave about what I was talking about,
Okay.
and to talk about some topics that were a little controversial or spicy. Even then, I was pretty low key. I wasn't like going crazy, but I was proud of myself, because it is unnerving to say how you feel about things for fear of people retaliating or coming at you. And for the most part, I thankfully didn't have a lot of that. So that made me feel good, because I do think we need to be strong in our faith. I do think we need to make it known what we believe in and what is okay and not okay with us. And I know everybody else in the world certainly wants everybody to honor them and, what they're doing. So I felt that that was good. I felt proud of myself that I could do that. And I would pray before and say, Holy Spirit, please help me to be strong in this, and for people to listen and not, just immediately dismiss what I was saying. I would say one of my disappointments of the year was I approached numerous people with no success to have people come in and talk about the abortion issue. I wanted to talk to women who had contemplated abortion but changed their mind. I wanted to talk to people who, help others to not have an abortion, like, in a crisis, in one of the facilities. I wanted to talk to people like that. I wanted to talk about, the positives of keeping your babies or their different experiences. And I was met with nothing.
Yeah, well, I think it's a tough one, because I think a lot of these women who have had these experiences, it's super traumatic for them. A lot of them live with tremendous guilt and regret, and it's tough. It's a tough one. I think that's, I don't necessarily blame them. I mean, I would have.
I don't blame them. I'm just saying I'm disappointed, because, and also the temperature at the time when I was asking, I was trying to get the episodes to be for the, whatever it's called, I'm having a mental
Pro-life month.
Yeah, the pro-life month, but that was right before the election. So, I mean, one of the presidential candidates had an abortion van out in the parking lot at the convention. So, I mean, the temperature of the abortion issue was pretty hot at that moment.
It still is, and it always will be.
Yes,
It's just.
but I was interested in that. I'm not giving up on that. I would like to in the future just talk about that issue, because I think if we talk about some of these serious issues and have a hopeful outcome, that's a good episode.
I'll do this for you. I'll say, here's a call to action. If you have a story that you feel like can help people and inspire people, contact Lori, because
Right. Contact me. And that being said, I get contacted by a lot of people about wanting to be a guest. And I apologize to those who we haven't been able to have on. We weren't equipped to have remote. We had remote for a while, but we weren't being filmed. So now that we do YouTube, we have to do it in a different way. And now we're equipped to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a period of time, so I apologize to those people where they're like, well, I wanted to come on the show and I emailed her, but
Right.
you lived in a whole other country or state and we weren't equipped. So now moving forward, we are. So go ahead and reach out to me. It doesn't mean I'll get everybody on the show, but I am interested in people who can come and talk about some serious topics who are willing to do that so that they can help other people. So email me at lori@freshcatholic.com and let's see what we can do now that we have our new equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll say that I don't necessarily have a favorite episode or a favorite moment, but I do have like I think what decision that we made to create a YouTube channel was a smart one. I think that you got a lot more listeners, a lot more viewers. You're getting a lot of views, and it's become very, very popular. And it's definitely something that if it's something to watch. If I listen to podcasts, but I also watch a lot of YouTube podcasts and a lot of YouTube content. So the channel was the right decision.
Yes, it was.
You have met so many milestones in the YouTube channel. It's not even a year old. It's only like 9 months old, and it's
Not even that.
yeah. You've got over 600 videos on there. It's a ton of content, really great content, and people are really eating it up. It's
Yeah. So I'm excited for 2025 because I do think we haven't been doing YouTube very long. I do know it's doing really well and I'm excited. And then speaking of that, wait, you had something else to say. I can tell, I can feel it.
I guess, it's not just YouTube, but creating visual content. That's really what I'm good at. I'd actually like to step it up and do documentary style content.
Right.
I think that's more powerful.
Which I think is our next thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Wait, let me ask him a question. Is that the thing you want to get that camera?
yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's this thing that Simon, I'm not going to say.
Okay. Well, okay.
You brought it up.
No, I just want to create
Right.
stuff that's my thing.
Right.
Like,
So, well, because, this is going well, but we're Fresh Catholic, so we have to keep things fresh. So we do have ideas of moving forward, like what we want to do regarding content and what we want to do about, moving forward, keeping it interesting. We don't want people to get bored with anything, so we're going to be trying out some new things. I'm not going to really tell everybody specifically what it is.
Yeah.
But we're going to be doing some new things, so you'll have to stay tuned.
I don't mind. It's just documentary style content that is, content that I'm used to creating in the film world, I guess. This is a podcast thing. It's been a new thing for me. Become an engineer this year. So that's not what I planned on doing. I want to create content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I get to be in that?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're definitely a part of it. So.
Okay. I would hope so, since it's my show.
Uh-huh.
No, I know. We have a lot of content to create this year.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that. And then so we are going on, I'm not going to say if we do, we are going on our Italian pilgrimage this coming September with Father Matthew Miguel. So we were kind of trying to lay low about it over the holidays and give everybody time with their families and I didn't want to stress everybody out. But now it's going to be the new year. And this is the Jubilee year. So you must come to Italy with Father Matthew Miguel and I. We're going to be recording my podcast there. We're going to be working on a documentary on that trip. So you'll be a part of that. And it's kind of an exciting thing where you can put down a deposit and then you can make payments, which is great. I didn't know that. And that's a great factor to it because money is tight with people. But this is going to be a trip of a lifetime. I know it will be for us. I know I'm really excited about it because when you go on this pilgrimage with us, it's kind of like an all-inclusive trip.
It is
and you can focus on all these beautiful things we're going to be seeing and hearing about and experiencing. We don't need to be worried about getting from point A to point B because the people at Trinity Tour Travels are handling everything. So it's worth every penny
Yeah.
that we get to go on this trip, and airfares included in the price,
Hotels, meals,
meals, everything. So it's like, I just think it's a beautiful thing. You're not going to want to miss the Jubilee year to go to Italy. I just think the places we're going, go to our website, freshcatholic.com. The whole itinerary is there.
Yeah.
There's a link so you can contact Trinity Tour Travels, Kayla, and she will help you with anything you need. If you have any questions, she's just a delightful person to deal with. And you'll get to go with me and Father Matthew Miguel, and what could be better? I mean, I just think it's going to be so much fun.
I think there's a couple of unique things about this pilgrimage. One is, the Jubilee happens once every 25 years. So, for some people that is a chance of a lifetime,
Right.
because for me, it would be.
For me too.
In
I'm older than you,
probably maybe 6 feet under. Who knows?
God, don't say
Yeah. So, anyways, it is a chance in a lifetime, and I think this specific pilgrimage that Trinity Tours has partnered with you to do is really a unique experience in that Lori is a very dynamic person, and if you go, you will have a lot of fun. She likes to have fun, and you'll have a very spiritual experience with Father Matthew because he's such a great priest. I think that this, out of all their tours that they have, to go with Lori and Father Miguel is really going to be special.
Thank you for saying that. Also, Father Matthew went on a pilgrimage just this last year in 2024 to the same general places. So now he's got to experience it. So now when he comes with us, he's going to be more educated in it, I think. And I think it's just going to be, it's going to be really meaningful. He's not the kind of priest where he's like, oh, ho hum, I've done this 1,000 times. It's just one more time. He's not like that. And I think it's just going to be a beautiful experience. I can't wait to go. I just think I'm just so excited, and I can't wait to get our group and see who's going. I think it's just going to be amazing. So please go to our website, put down that deposit, and let's go to Italy September 29th through October. I'm going to get my dates wrong. And it's my own pilgrimage. Anyway, look it up on the website. I'm having sorry, I'm getting old and frazzled. I'm tired, y'all. It's been a holiday. Okay. Also, I know we're both going to be writing books this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to write 2 books. I mean, I'm going to start them. I'm not going to promise I'm going to finish them, but I am starting books this year.
So I'm going to say that there are some upcoming changes.
Yes.
In how we're
Going to do everything.
how we're doing everything. We've been on a treadmill, a rat race. We're letting some things go so that time is going to open up for us that will allow that to happen. There's some things that I've just been waiting.
Yep.
I'm just waiting.
We're just waiting.
Yeah.
God willing.
Yeah, and it is God willing. We had to get over some pretty ginormous, not just hurdles, but mountains.
Yes.
I think this year.
Yes.
I think
We're exhausted, and we need to shift gears and have our lifestyle is about to change drastically.
Yeah, it is, and that just is better for your audience because it's just going to allow us to make more and better content.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was thinking of this morning when I was in Mass is, like you just said, we've been in a rat race. We've been climbing mountains. We're exhausted. There's been a lot of distractions, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's been a lot of chaos. And I was sitting in Mass today and I was thinking, even though I go to Mass every day, I don't feel very connected to the Lord these days. And I don't like that because he is my number one concern and my number one focus. And I was thinking, I really need in the new year and when I say put him as more of a priority, everybody's thinking, well, you already go to Mass every day, you pray all day. How much more can you give? It's not that. It's that I need a more quiet space to do that. I need less chaos so that I can focus on him, and then we can help create this content to draw other people to him as well.
That's funny that you say. Well, it's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not funny that you say that because if that's how you're feeling, as you know, for me, I'm a different type, and I I have to we have solitude, literally. So I have to lock myself in a room and just no sounds, or I create my own sounds or create my own environment. That's the only way I can really creatively work. So everything else is when I go out in the world, it's noise. I'm so my energy just gets sucked out of me, and then I get emotionally spent,
Yeah.
and it's no fun to create that way. I've just been kind of trusting and having faith that God's going to change this situation. I've just been kind of waiting.
Right. Same here. So we'll keep you stay tuned because we'll keep you up on what we're doing. But that's kind of, there's going to be changes in the coming year. I think because of our lifestyle is going to change, we're going to have more time to create more meaningful content. I feel more,
Yeah.
and also just to I don't know. I just want to purge. I want to
Well, we are.
have less and less things to focus more and more on what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and in some sense, we have I've been writing with a dull pencil, one of those big fat pencils, that you had in elementary school. Not the number twos, but the ones that are like
Yeah.
this. I've been using that for a while. So now I'm really sharpening. I'm sticking it in the pencil sharpener and really getting to work here. I feel like that's what's
Yeah.
going to happen here.
Yeah.
So.
So I know this was a long episode, but that's okay. That we're ending on a finale like that. Okay. So thanks for hanging out with us for this episode. And by the time you're watching this, it's about to be the new year, 2025. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I hope it'll be a good one.
I hope so. Yep.
So thanks for coming today. Give me just one little kiss.
Oh God.
I made him do that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thanks for coming today. I hope you have a happy new year. Safe and happy new year. Thank you. Love you. Bye.